Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. But before we do get into it, I do want to just say thank you for your guys' support over the last week or two. For those of you who don't know, when you haven't checked the community tab, I've just been so ill over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that's why there's been such little content. It's just been a mixture of like the flu and a chest infection. I'm still not quite out of the woods yet, honestly. Just today has been the first day in a long time that I've been able to string a sentence together without going into a coughing fit. But yes, I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, today is essentially this video is just me sort of acknowledging the last game because I don't want it to look like it was a bit of a cop out just because I was ill. But honestly, this was the vision, this was the picture, the image of me watching the Blackburn game. I was watching it, I was lying on the sofa, migraine, and it was one of those migraines where you literally have to sit there and squint because if you open your eyes fully, you're in absolute agony because light going into your eyes hurt. It was one of them. So I was laying on the sofa, blanket over us, for squinting at the screen like that and watching this Sunderland team absolutely collapse. And that was an absolute punishment in itself, being as ill as I was and then watching that absolute shit show. And we can blame Matt Dodds and everyone else all we want, but those players were an absolute fucking embarrassment to this football club on that day. They were absolutely appalling, and I'm not having this excuse every single time that I say it week in, week out, regardless of the result, win, lose or draw, that we need experience. Of course we do. We need experience within the squad. However, that doesn't mean that, you know, every time shit hits the fan like that and shit goes wrong, they are totally blameless. Oh, well, they needed experience. You know, I'd be thanking me lucky stars if I was, early 20s, mid 20s or whatever it was. Just I can do anything I want because I'll be constantly bailed out with the excuse of we need experience or I'm too young. Yet when things go well last season with a very, very, very young squad, it don't get mentioned. In fact, it's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Which I know we've lost experience, but still, it's just those players need a hard look at themselves because, once one goal goes in, it's not even a case of heads down. It's just the mere basics of what you need to be as a Sunderland football player or as any football player at a professional level has to be. It went totally out the window. It wasn't a case of they were trying but they were making mistakes. They were putting the foot off the gas. The absolute basics weren't there. Or there was an actual refusal to do the basics. It was an absolute shit show. And a lot of those players, I questioned their characters straight after the game. And it's probably fortunate that I was as ill as I was, because it would have been an absolute disaster of a video to come out as well after it, because I was disgusted. I was embarrassed in those lot. And like I said, we can blame Dodds all we want, but those lads let him down, and he's going to take the brunt of it. Of course he is. But yeah, all I would ask, I don't even really know what this video is, it's just me showing my face and acknowledging it, because it was embarrassing. It was totally embarrassing. And those lads owe it to the fans at the weekend, tomorrow against Bristol City. They owe a performance at the bare minimum. The result might not come. I can take a defeat. I can take a last minute draw. I can take all that shit. But when you've got players that down tools and play the way they did, it knocked me sick. I mean, I was already sick. Like I said, I was an absolute state on my sofa. But then to see that, God, I probably would have done a better job of them. I could barely keep my fucking eyes open. Jesus, you can tell by the way, I'm still totally bunged up on Vile at the moment. But yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. It was an absolutely disgusting performance that needs to be rectified. The season's absolutely been thrown off anyway. It was a shit show this season. But we need to try and end on the high. These lads need to be trying to fight for the shit for next season. And on the basis of what I've seen against Blackburn, that was absolutely vile. We saw such quality against Cardiff, and so to go out, it's almost as if we thought the players thought, we've shown what we're capable of now, so we're okay for a bit, so we can take our foot off the gas. That's how it felt, and that's how it looked. We looked decent for 10 minutes. The opening 10 minutes against Blackburn, we looked decent. Second we concede, it's like no one give a fuck. Not an ounce of responsibility throughout the side, and it was minging. Absolutely minging to watch. But yeah, so all I ask is a performance at the weekend. In terms of other things that I've missed, because of course I have been ill, as I say, there've been a few different things. Steve Davison is leaving at the end of the season. Who gives a shit at this point? People tried to attach that to what happened against the Mags in the Cup with all that stuff and all that nonsense, and that's him sort of being sacked. If it was a sacking, he wouldn't get the glowing references he has done, since the announcement were made, so I don't think that was that. Of course, with the meeting minutes from the Red and White Army with the club, which for me, I didn't even want to make a video on because it's just lip service at this point. What happens is we bring up very valid issues, the Red and White Army bring up very valid issues, and the club just say, okay, we empathise, okay, we understand, and then absolutely nothing gets done. So it's absolutely fucking pointless in having these meetings anyway, in my opinion. Yes, it's all well and good and putting them to the sword, and the Red and White Army do a great job at times with that, with some really hard-hitting questions, and all they get is, we totally understand, we're all for the fans, pay them lip service, it'll A, B, C, D will get done by the time we have the next meeting, and then they have the exact same question answered in the exact same way. We empathise. That's it. It's bollocks. It's pointless. It's a shit show. But yeah, so... You know, what a way to come back here. I bet you guys have missed me, haven't you? But yeah, so it's the first time I've coughed in like 6 minutes. That's a record. But yeah, so it's just looking so doom and gloom at the minute, isn't it? And it's one of them. I've seen a lot of people asking and calling for a manager to come between now and the end of the season. I don't think that's going to happen, given that we've already made a statement, and we very rarely go back on ourselves, do we? The board at the minute, the hierarchy at the minute, and they're not going to want to chip in for someone who's already at a club. There's a lot of rumours that Heckingbottom is going to be the one that we're going to go for, and I've already said in a previous video several months ago that I wouldn't be opposed to that. I feel like Heckingbottom would be one of those where it would seem underwhelming at first, and then it could go very, very well. Very much like a Tony Mowbray. I feel like that's the kind of appointment it would be. You know, he did outstanding at Barnsley. He did very good at Sheffield United. A lot of people say that, it was the Sheffield United quality and squad that carried him, but you need to be a manager. You know, look at Leicester. You know, Leicester having an outstanding squad. You need a good manager to be able to take him up still. You know, a manager still has a role. You can't just say, you can't just pick and choose as and when the manager has actually done a good job or not. You know, when a team does well, a manager has a part to play in that. I think that's very, very unfair and very close-minded way to look at it, just to say that the Sheffield United squad pulled him up single-handedly. So for me, I wouldn't be opposed to Heckingbottom. I feel like we need a safe pair of hands. I feel like not safe, and I want to say safe, I don't mean boring. You know, someone who I would feel safe with, who has kind of been, has a little bit of experience, which is a big thing that people say. I know I've said in the past I'd like Will still, but I think he has already gained the experience, and he would definitely be the more excited name that I think people would probably give a bit more leeway at the beginning. But Heckingbottom for me definitely has a more safer sort of aura to me, if that makes sense. But I like my original point, I just don't see us bringing anything until the end of the season. I can see the advantages of it, because then they can kind of oversee what we already have before having discussions with what's going to go in the summer in terms of bringing players in, letting players go, etc. So that would be a positive. That'd be one of the main reasons to bring someone in, but I just can't see that being the case. I think Dodge will sit outside of the season, and I just don't think these lads have the motivation to end this on a positive note. And what I think would be quite bad as well, if we did bring someone in, even if it was someone that we wanted, I think it'd take a miracle. It'd take a Mourinho or someone to get a decent string of results out of these lads at the moment. And what would happen is we'd bring someone in like a Will Still or a Heckingbottom for the last few games this season, and if it was a shit show, knowing what we're like and how passionate and emotional we get, we'd be culling for his fucking head anyway after 4 or 5 games. Do you know what I mean? So we wouldn't even get to the summer transfer window before whoever comes in gets called out. And also I've seen people call for Neil Warnock until the end of the season. Hey, God, it's just a joke, man. Absolute joke. But hopefully tomorrow, although what is a performance out of the lads, then we can, it's not like we have that to play for anyway, which is probably that outlet. That's probably the outlook that a lot of those lads have, even though that's incredibly unprofessional. I know it's easy to take your foot off the gas a little bit, but not to the extent where you get absolutely drugged by Blackburn, who hadn't won 1 in 10 or whatever it were, and then to bend over the way we did. Fucking embarrassing. But either way, guys, apologies. It's just been essentially just pure negativity, but there's very little positivity going around at the minute, is there? So you've probably come to the wrong place for that. But hopefully we do get a result and a performance tomorrow. I'll probably do. I definitely won't have the throat and the chest for a live stream tomorrow, but I'll probably do a preview depending on how I feel, because I can feel myself. I'm going to cough up a fucking furball in a minute. But anyway, guys, thank you for the support. As you can see, I've just been really ill, and otherwise I would have been making videos for everything. But again, hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. And if you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. Don't forget to leave a comment as well. Anything I've mentioned in this video you'd like to discuss, you agree, you disagree, anything, I don't mind. Leave it in the comments as long as it's respectful. But if you're new, hit the subscribe button. Take care. Stay jammy.